Chapter 9, Sandy's Plan. And that was the day that the 89th kitten came to stay. She meowed on the doorstep before lunch and then walked in with the greatest of confidence. Miss Barry made a special fuss over her, for she knew it was the last, and Sandy couldn't help but do the same. She was so beautiful, and besides, this time it wasn't even Miss Barry's fault. The 89th kitten looked like a fluffy white cloud at sunrise, lay purring on the furry rug. She found a choice spot too, Sandy said. Usually Nobbles and Blackberry shared that. Sandy and Miss Barry sat in the living room with her while they thought about what the man from the council had said. And as they talked more and more of the cats, walked gracefully in as they wanted to attend to the conference too. "We have 89 cats," said Sandy, "and you're allowed 20. The difference is 69. "What will we do?" asked Miss Barry, looking around in despair at all of her happy cats. "We need to find 69 good homes. That's what. But how? We'll advertise in the paper, in the kids column, and in the What's On this weekend. We could make it sound like an outing and ask for the black borders around the ads. People will notice then." "But which 69? asked Miss Barry. "And how will we find 69 homes for people to care for them?" 69 is nothing," said Sandy, "not when you advertise your product." "I couldn't part with Blackberry," said Miss Barry, "because he was the first. And I couldn't part with the 89th kitten, because she was the last, and it sounds like the street in New York. Nor with Nobbles or Strawberry or Blue Haze or Suds or Lightning or White Whiskers or One Sock. She searched for a cat or a kitten that she felt she could part with. There were a few that kept to themselves, like Midnight and Honey and Pirate and Foam. But she liked that. She liked them independent too, for that was what cats really should be like. Sandy looked around too and felt sad, but somewhere inside she was relieved, and she tried to sound positive for Miss Barry's sake. "It's not as though they'll be miserable," she said. "Look at Pirate. He's sick of being cooped up. Since you put up the fence, all he's done is hang around on it every day, and he'd be happier somewhere else. And if we don't, the council will." "Don't," Miss Barry says. "You're right, Sandy. I'm grateful. Perhaps you could help me with the words in the ad." "I'll need some time to think," said Sandy, going outside and settling down with the cats. Most were having their late morning nap. Some were giving a lazy occasional lick to a paw. All looked contented, except for Pirate, who was clinging to the wire. "Why don't you relax?" she called to him and patted the ground beside her. But Pirate looked down disdainfully and stayed where he was. 69 cats and kittens free to a good home. Call at 20 Lorikeet Drive, Grenton, Saturday, October 24th, all day. That would do for the kids column. Now the What's On for the weekend. "Open house," Sandy wrote. "Cats and kittens, beautiful, different cats and kittens. Choose from a wide range of beautiful and different kittens and cats. Free, but only to good people. All day, Saturday, October 24th, 20 Lorikeet Drive, Grenton." She showed the notices to Miss Barry. "How will we know they are good people and good homes?" asked Miss Barry, twisting her hands together. "We've no choice," said Sandy. "We just have to trust them. We can get them to sign something, that we could visit the cats and that they could send us a photograph at the end of the year so we know that they were all right." "Yes," said Miss Barry doubtfully. "I don't know that people would be altogether like that." "Cat lovers wouldn't mind," said Sandy confidently, "and we don't want the others." So Miss Barry sent in the notices on Monday morning for Friday and Saturday's paper. And Sandy spent every afternoon after school brushing the cats and helping Miss Barry get the garden shipshape. Miss Barry cut the grass on Tuesday, and Sandy did the edging. Afterwards, they put up the butterfly sprinklers on full. They hosed down the concrete while the cats watched at a safe distance. Sandy had brought over a stiff scrubbing brush out of her mother's box of equipment for cleaning houses, and she scrubbed loose any bits of old food that were stuck. Miss Barry washed all of her white curtains and cleaned the blue shutters. She bought seedlings of white and mauve asylum and put out red geraniums in pots at the door and on the windowsills. On Wednesday, Sandy went to Woolworth's and got satin ribbon in several colors to set off the varied beauty of the 69 cats and kittens. She came back with packets and packets of mixed balloons, as well as she brought with her pocket money. "It'll make it festive," she said, "like a show or a party. It makes people relax more to see balloons. One free balloon with every kitten or two with every cat." "No," said Miss Barry, "one for each of them. I'm not having them think less of my beautiful cats." "It'd be nice to have a drink stand," said Sandy dreamily. "It might be a hot day, and candy and ice cream." Miss Barry looked alarmed. "No, Sandy, we'll put the cans of soda in the refrigerator, but that's all we can manage. Oh, and cookies. I'll get extra cookies for the children." She started writing a shopping list. "What do children drink? Lemonade?" "Yes, and ginger ale and orange ale, things like that. Get all different kinds and bottles. You get your money back on those." On Thursday, Sandy asked Miss Silverton if she would help her make a big sign for an open house, she explained, "for giving away the cats I told you about." Miss Silverton found her a large piece of cardboard and penciled in the letters for her. "I'll do it in red," she suggested, "for easy viewing." But during the afternoon, Sandy began to feel uneasy. What if nobody came? Who would read those notices? Perhaps it would rain and nobody would want to go out. She needed something else. And then she thought of her father. He understood about advertising. She called him at his work number. She wanted to phone before her mother got home. She had often seen it here penciled into the front of the phone book, but had never thought she'd call it, ever. She was expecting him to be annoyed, so she got her defensive voice ready. But she didn't need it. He was pleased. "Sandy," he said, sounding really happy, then anxious. "Is something wrong?" "No, Dad, of course not, but it's the cats. We have to find homes for 69, and the council said that we can keep 20. We're having an open house this weekend. We've put ads in the paper. Can you think of anything else?" "Television," he said. "That reaches the most people. Call Channel 9. He paused. "But not until tomorrow. Give your name and address first and say that you have a human interest story for them. They just might come around if they are on short of news." 20, he said. "You can still manage with 20, you and your blue lady. Keep my cat Jeffrey, won't you?" Sandy put the receiver down and looked around the room. It suddenly seemed very empty, very dead. He remembered about calling Miss Barry the blue lady. He was pleased about the 20 and said that she hadn't called any of the cats Jeffrey. But why didn't he want her to wait until tomorrow before she called? They were running out of time. But she did wait. The next day she phoned Channel 9. She gave her name and address first, carefully spelling out her surname. And then she said, "I've got a human interest story for you. There's this lovely old lady who is too kind, and she's collected more cats than she's allowed. And so we have to find homes for them. Or the lady and the cats will be very unhappy. The cats will be more than happy," she added. "The cats will be dead." At first, the voice on the other end sounded impatient. But then as she went on, the voice seemed more, if reluctantly, interested. "Greenfield. You said your name was, yes, Greenfield. We'll come around this afternoon after 4, said the television station, to number 20. Miss Barry was horrified. "Television crew," she said, "with cameras? Here? Oh, I think they must have been joking, Sandy. They wouldn't consider our little problem news." "It is," said Sandy, a bit put out. "It's human interest. They have lots of items that they like that now to keep people's minds off wars and violence and car accidents and things." At 3 o'clock, Miss Barry thought that she would change just in case. She came downstairs in her favorite suit, light blue with a frilly cream blouse. She wore high-heeled shoes, the same blue. "You look nice," said Sandy, panting after school. But she had no intention of changing. Her best clothes and her ordinary clothes were the same anyway. Blue jeans and a checked shirt, a windbreaker and sneakers. "I forgot to say," she said, "that our second to last cat, the one who likes to drink the leaky tap, his name is Jeffrey." "That's different from the others," said Miss Barry. "Perhaps he's the one we should keep." Just after 4 o'clock, the Channel 9 arrived, as promised, and took pictures of Miss Barry in her spotless blue-tiled kitchen, with its white curtains billowing out in the open window. She was cuddling Nobbles and Blackberry and Creamy Paws, and she couldn't find the 89th kitten in time. She tried to talk to the camera about how she had found Blackberry in the pine tree outside, and how it had all led on from that. But she kept talking to the cameraman at the side of the camera, and her voice was rather faint and frightened. The camera then followed Sandy outside, where she was beginning the evening feeding. She chatted away quite comfortably as she filled the shiny colored bowls with fresh scraps from Mr. Holly's up the road, then had restored the bowls to make them nicer for the cameras. "It's hard to say," she said, "just how many cats is enough. These are all beautifully looked after, and they would have starved. If you start caring, it's hard to know where to stop." She paused as a cat rubbed against her hand on its way to chase strips in the garden. Sandy's mother let her stay later at Mrs. Barry's that night so that they could watch the news together. They were the last item before the weather. "Doesn't the house look nice?" said Miss Barry, admiring it afresh on the screen. "And have you ever seen a better looked after cats?" asked Sandy proudly. The camera rotated around, finding Pirate on the fence with Midnight and Buttercup looking up at him. One sock pawing Lightning's dinner, and the kittens chased one another in the corner by the honeysuckle. Finally, the camera gave a close-up of Sandy's beaming face and focused on the big sign with the clear red lettering that Miss Silverton and Sandy had filled in together. "That'll do it," said Sandy with satisfaction. "It's sure to do it." "I think you're right," said Miss Barry, patting Creamy Paws and looking around for the 89th kitten. She found her later in the living room, where she was pulling threads out of the sofa with her head cocked prettily on the side. "We'd better make a list," she said.